I was standing in the hallway of my own home when our housekeeper grabbed my arm and pulled me into the coat closet. "Mr. Warren, get inside. Don't make a sound." I stumbled backward into the darkness, hangers pressing against my back. "Dolores, what in God's name are you doing?" I hissed. She pressed her finger to her lips, her eyes wide with urgency. "Please, sir, you need to hear what's about to happen in that living room. Your grandson's future depends on it." Then she closed the door, leaving me in darkness with nothing but a thin crack of light and the sound of my own racing heart. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Before we continue, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me where you're listening from right now. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what happens next. And if you know someone who needs to hear this story, share it with them. One more thing. This narrative includes some creative elements added for storytelling purposes. Any resemblance to real people or places is purely coincidental. But the lessons within are very real, and I hope they speak to your heart. The morning of my grandson's engagement party, I woke up at 5 like I always do. Old habits from 40 years of running a construction company don't die easy. My wife Margaret would have laughed at me. "Harold, you're retired. Sleep in for once?" But Margaret had been gone for 2 years now, and sleeping in just meant more hours alone with my thoughts. I stood at the bedroom window, watching the sunrise paint the Virginia hills in gold and pink. Today should have been a happy day. My grandson Ryan, the boy I'd raised since he was 12 after his parents died in that car accident, was officially announcing his engagement to Victoria Chen. Beautiful, educated, successful Victoria, who worked in finance and charmed everyone she met. So why did my chest feel tight? Why had I been sleeping poorly for weeks? Something felt wrong. I couldn't name it. Couldn't point to any specific thing Victoria had done. She was perfect. Too perfect, Margaret's voice whispered in my memory. "Nobody's that perfect, Harold." I shook my head and reached for my robe. "Stop being a paranoid old man. Ryan deserves happiness." Downstairs, Dolores Martinez was already in the kitchen. She'd worked for our family for 23 years, ever since Margaret hired her when Ryan was just a baby visiting for summers. Dolores had held my hand at Margaret's funeral. She'd helped me learn to cook something beyond toast and cereal. She wasn't just an employee. She was family. "Good morning, Mr. Warren." She set a cup of coffee in front of me, black, 2 sugars, exactly how I liked it. But her hands were trembling. "Dolores, you all right?" She didn't meet my eyes. "Just nervous about the party, sir. Lots of guests coming." I studied her face. 23 years. I knew when Dolores was lying. What's really going on? She opened her mouth, closed it, then shook her head. "Nothing, Mr. Warren. I'm just tired." Before I could press further, footsteps thundered down the stairs. Ryan burst into the kitchen, grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. At 32, he still had that boyish energy that reminded me so much of his father. "Grandpa!" He hugged me tight, nearly lifting me off the ground. "Can you believe it? I'm getting engaged. Officially. In front of everyone." I hugged him back, ignoring the ache in my chest. "Your grandmother would be so proud." "I know." His voice softened. "I wish she could have met Victoria. They would have loved each other." Would they? The thought came unbidden. Margaret had always been an excellent judge of character. What would she have seen in Victoria that I was missing? "Victoria's coming over early to help set up," Ryan continued, oblivious to my inner turmoil. "Her mom's flying in from San Francisco tonight, but she wanted to make sure everything's perfect first." "Of course she did." Ryan paused, catching something in my tone. "Grandpa, you like Victoria, right? I mean, I know it's only been a year, but she's the one. I can feel it." I looked at my grandson, at his hopeful eyes, at the pure joy radiating from him. How could I tell him about this nameless dread? What would I even say? "Your fiancé smiles too much? She asks too many questions about our family's property holdings?" "I think she's wonderful," I said. And I meant it. I wanted to mean it. Ryan's phone buzzed. "That's her. She's 5 minutes out." He practically bounced toward the door. "Thanks for hosting this, Grandpa. It means everything." After he left, Dolores appeared at my elbow. "Mr. Warren, I need to tell you something." "What is it?" Her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, and her face went pale. "Not now. But later today, before the party starts, please find me. It's important. Dolores, you're scaring me." "I'm scared too, sir." Her voice cracked. "I'm scared for Ryan." Before I could respond, the front door opened. Victoria's voice rang through the house, bright and melodic. "Good morning, everyone. Ready to make this the best engagement party ever?" Dolores squeezed my arm once, hard, then disappeared into the kitchen. The next 3 hours passed in a blur of catering deliveries, flower arrangements, and Victoria's endless instructions. She moved through my home like she already owned it. Rearranging furniture, directing the rental company where to set up tables in the backyard, taste testing every appetizer. "Mr. Warren, don't you think the champagne tower would look better by the rose garden?" She touched my arm, her smile dazzling. "The lighting will be gorgeous for photos. Whatever you think is best, dear. You're the sweetest." She kissed my cheek. "I'm so lucky to be joining this family. Ryan talks about you constantly. How you raised him after his parents passed. How you built Warren Construction from nothing. How this estate has been in your family for 3 generations. There it was again. That slight emphasis on certain words: estate, family, 3 generations. I'm being ridiculous, I told myself. She's just making conversation. Around 11, I went looking for Dolores. I found her in the laundry room, folding napkins, her hands still shaking. "All right, Dolores. No more waiting. What do you need to tell me?" She looked around, checking that we were alone. "Mr. Warren, I've been doing something I shouldn't have, something that might make you angry." "Go on." 3 weeks ago, Victoria left her phone on the kitchen counter while she was showering upstairs. A message came through, and I saw it. It was from someone named Marcus. Dolores's voice dropped to a whisper. It said, "When do we make the move?" I can't keep waiting. My blood ran cold. What kind of move? I don't know, but it didn't feel right. So I started watching her, listening. Dolores wrung her hands. Last week, when she said she was visiting her sick aunt in Richmond, I followed her. "You followed her?" "She didn't go to Richmond, Mr. Warren. She went to a house in Charlottesville, a little place on Maple Drive, and I saw her." Dolores's eyes filled with tears. "I saw her with a man, and 2 children, a boy and a girl, maybe 8 and 6 years old. The man called her Honey. The children called her Mommy." The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the washing machine to steady myself. "That's not possible. Victoria said she's never been married. She said she doesn't have children." "I know what I saw, Mr. Warren. I took pictures." Dolores pulled out her phone, hands trembling as she scrolled. "This man, this house, those children. They're real. And Victoria has been lying to all of us." I stared at the photos. Victoria, my grandson's fiancée, standing on the porch of a small house, embracing a man with tired eyes. Victoria kneeling down to hug 2 children who looked at her with complete adoration. Victoria, laughing, looking more relaxed and genuine than I'd ever seen her. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "I wasn't sure, sir. I needed to be certain. So I went back. Multiple times. I gathered more information." Dolores pulled out a folded paper. "The man's name is Marcus Chen. They've been married for 9 years. Those are their children, Lily and James. They live in that house in Charlottesville, and they're in serious financial trouble." "Financial trouble?" "Debt, Mr. Warren. Serious debt. Medical bills from when the little girl was born premature, bad investments trying to dig out, and now they owe money to someone dangerous. A man named Vincent Morales. He lends money to desperate people, then destroys them when they can't pay." My mind raced. Pieces falling into place. Victoria's interest in our family's wealth. Her questions about the estate. Her eagerness to formalize the engagement quickly. "She's not in love with Ryan." "No, sir." Dolores's voice broke. "I believe she's trying to marry into your family to access your money. Pay off this Morales person. Save her real family by destroying yours. I should have felt rage. Instead, I felt something colder. Clarity. Does Ryan know any of this? No. And sir, there's more. Dolores glanced toward the door. Victoria's real husband, Marcus. He's coming here today. What? I heard her on the phone this morning, very early, in the garden. She didn't know I was up. She told Marcus to park on the back road behind your property and wait. She said she'd slip away during the party and bring him documents to sign. Something about power of attorney, and she said, after today, we'll have access to everything. Ryan won't know until it's too late. The walls seemed to close in. My grandson, the boy I'd raised, the last piece of my son I had left, was about to be destroyed by a con artist. Dolores, where exactly is this man supposed to be waiting? The old groundskeeper's cottage, sir. The one by the creek. Victoria told him to wait there until she signals. I looked at my watch. 2 hours until the party officially started. Guests would begin arriving in 90 minutes. I need to see him. I need to confront him before this goes any further. Mr. Warren, that might be dangerous. I've faced dangerous things before, Dolores. I didn't build a company from nothing by being afraid. I straightened my shoulders. You said you have evidence. Photos, documents. Where are they? In my room. I'll get everything. Good. And Dolores, I took her hands in mine. Thank you for watching over this family. Margaret would be proud of you. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I made her a promise, sir. When she was dying, I promised I'd look after you and Ryan. I intend to keep it. 20 minutes later, I walked through the backwoods of my property toward the old cottage. In my jacket pocket was a manila folder containing everything Dolores had gathered. Marriage certificate, photos, printed text messages she'd managed to photograph when Victoria left her phone unattended. Bank records showing the Chen's crushing debt. The cottage came into view, weathered wood and overgrown vines. I hadn't been out here in years, not since Margaret and I used to take evening walks before her knees gave out. A car was parked behind the trees. Someone was inside, waiting. I approached the driver's side window and knocked. The man who looked up at me was younger than I expected. Mid-30s, with dark circles under his eyes and a face that had forgotten how to smile. He looked terrified. Who are you? My name is Harold Warren, and I believe you're Marcus Chen, the man whose wife is about to illegally marry my grandson. Marcus's face crumpled. Oh God, it's over. Get out of the car, son. We need to talk. We sat on the cottage's rotting porch steps, two men from different worlds bound by one woman's deception. How long has this been going on? I asked. Marcus stared at his hands. 6 months. Victoria found out about your family, the construction company you sold for millions. This estate, Ryan being your sole heir. He laughed bitterly. She researched everything. Your wife's death, Ryan's charity work, his loneliness. She engineered their meeting at that fundraiser. Every word, every gesture, all of it calculated. And you went along with it? You don't understand, Mr. Warren. Marcus's voice cracked. Morales, the man we owe money to, he doesn't just threaten. Last month, he showed up at Lily's school. He didn't do anything. Just watched her through the fence during recess. Then he called Victoria and said, "Beautiful daughter you have. Be a shame if something happened to her." My stomach turned. She's 8 years old, loves horses and drawing, and thinks her mother hangs the moon. Marcus wiped his eyes. Victoria said this was the only way. Marry Ryan, gain access to the Warren accounts, pay off Morales, then stage a divorce and disappear. Start over somewhere safe. And what about Ryan? What about his heart when he discovers the woman he loves never existed? Marcus looked at me, genuine anguish in his eyes. I know it's wrong. I've known from the beginning. But when someone threatens your child, he couldn't finish. I thought of Ryan at 12 years old, standing in my living room in his wrinkled suit, fresh from his parents' funeral. How I'd promised him I'd never let anything hurt him again. How I'd failed to see this threat right in front of me. Mr. Warren, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If there was any other way, I would have taken it. But Morales, he's not someone you can negotiate with. He doesn't make deals. He takes what he wants. Tell me everything. Every detail of Victoria's plan. What documents she's having you sign. What she intends to do after the engagement is announced. All of it. For the next 30 minutes, Marcus laid bare the entire scheme. Victoria had been planning to add herself as a beneficiary on Ryan's accounts within weeks of their marriage. She'd been researching our family's legal structure, looking for vulnerabilities. The power of attorney documents Marcus was supposed to sign today were part of a larger fraud designed to siphon money without Ryan noticing until it was too late. The engagement party announcement, Marcus said, is just the beginning. She wants to push for a quick wedding. Maybe Vegas. Make everything legal and binding before anyone can ask questions. I stood up, my joints protesting. You said Morales is dangerous. How dangerous? He's hurt people before, people who didn't pay. Marcus swallowed. Victoria's terrified of him. That's why she's doing all this. She thinks it's the only way out. There's always another way. I pulled out my phone. I have a friend who works in the FBI field office in Richmond. White-collar crime. He's been looking for someone like Morales for years. I paused. If you're willing to cooperate, to testify about what Morales has done, I might be able to help protect your family. Really protect them. Not through fraud, but through the law. Marcus stared at me. You'd do that? After what Victoria's been planning to do to your grandson? I'm not doing it for Victoria. I'm doing it for those 2 children who don't deserve any of this. And I'm doing it because it's right. I extended my hand. But I need something from you first. Anything. Come to the engagement party. Bring the children. Let the truth come out where everyone can see it. Let Ryan learn who Victoria really is before he makes the biggest mistake of his life. Marcus hesitated. She'll never forgive me. Your daughter's safety, your son's future, your own integrity. Is Victoria's forgiveness worth more than all of that? He closed his eyes. When he opened them, something had shifted. What time does the party start? Guests arrive at 2, announcement at 4. Can you be there by 3:30? I'll be there. I gave him my phone number and the address of a side entrance where Dolores would meet him. Then I walked back through the woods, my heart pounding but my mind clear. Ryan deserved the truth. The next 2 hours were the longest of my life. I showered, dressed in my best suit, and greeted guests with a smile that felt like a mask. Old friends, business associates, Ryan's college buddies, Victoria's carefully curated selection of friends, who I now suspected were paid performers in her elaborate production. Victoria herself was radiant. She floated through the party in a cream-colored dress, laughing at jokes, remembering everyone's names, touching Ryan's arm with practiced intimacy. She's good, Dolores murmured as she passed me with a tray of appetizers. Really good. Is everything in position? Marcus just texted. He's 5 minutes out. The children are with him. I nodded. The FBI agent? Parked on the main road. Ready when you give the signal. And Morales? Dolores's expression tightened. My nephew spotted him this morning in town. He's been watching the estate from the coffee shop on Main Street. He knows something big is happening today. He's waiting to see what Victoria delivers. Then we need to move fast. At 3:45, Ryan clinked his glass and called for everyone's attention. The guests gathered on the back terrace, champagne in hand, summer sun casting golden light across happy faces. Thank you all for coming, Ryan said, his voice thick with emotion. This past year has been the best of my life, and it's all because of this incredible woman. He took Victoria's hand. Victoria, you walked into my life when I didn't even know I was lost. You've given me hope, joy, purpose. I can't imagine my future without you. Victoria's smile was flawless. Ryan, you've made me believe in love again. In family. In everything I thought I'd lost. Lost. The word hit differently now that I knew her real family was less than 20 miles away, waiting for her to betray mine. Before we make the official announcement, Ryan continued. I want to thank someone who's been my rock since I was 12 years old. He turned to me. Grandpa, you raised me to be the man I am today. You taught me about honor, integrity, working hard for what you believe in. Everything good in me came from you and Grandma. My throat tightened. Ryan, I love you more than anything in this world. You know that. I do, Grandpa. I do. This was it. This was the moment. I stepped forward. Before we go any further, I need to say something. Victoria's smile flickered, just for a second. Mr. Warren, surely this can wait until after the announcement. I'm afraid it can't. I looked at the assembled guests, at Ryan's confused face, at Victoria's eyes widening with the first hint of fear. I have a deep objection to this engagement proceeding. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Ryan's face went white. Grandpa, what are you doing? I'm protecting you, son, the way I promised I always would. Victoria's voice turned sharp. Mr. Warren, this is inappropriate. Whatever concerns you have, we can discuss them privately. No, this needs to be said here, in front of everyone. I pulled the folder from my jacket, because the woman standing next to my grandson is already married. The terrace erupted, voices overlapping, glasses nearly dropping, people craning to see. Ryan stepped back from Victoria as if burned. That's not possible. Grandpa, that's insane. Victoria would never lie about something like that. Wouldn't she? I opened the folder, pulled out the marriage certificate. Marcus Chen and Victoria Chen. Married 9 years ago in California. Never divorced. Still legally bound. Victoria's composure shattered. That's a fake. Someone created that to sabotage us. Ryan, don't listen to him. He's never wanted us together. Then how do you explain these? I pulled out the photographs. Victoria on the porch. Victoria hugging the children. Victoria looking at her real husband with something that might have been love, once, before desperation consumed her. Ryan took the photos with shaking hands. His face cycled through confusion, denial, and finally devastating recognition. This is you. This house. These kids. There's a little girl calling you Mommy. Ryan, please, I can explain everything. It's not what it looks like. Then what is it, Victoria? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like my entire relationship has been a lie. Movement at the edge of the terrace. Heads turned. Marcus Chen walked through the gathered crowd, holding the hands of 2 children. The girl had dark hair like her mother. The boy looked exactly like his father. Mommy! The little girl broke free and ran toward Victoria. Mommy! We came to the party. Are we going to tell everyone now? The crowd fell silent. Every eye fixed on Victoria. Victoria looked down at her daughter, then at Ryan, then at me. And finally, the mask fell away completely. You don't understand, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. You don't understand what we're facing. What he'll do to us if I don't pay him back. Marcus stepped forward, one arm around his son. Victoria, it's over. Mr. Warren knows everything. About Morales. About the debt. All of it. And I've already made a call, I said, my voice steady. An FBI agent is parked on the main road right now. He's been looking for Vincent Morales for 3 years. If you cooperate, if you testify about his threats against your children, you'll be protected. Your whole family will be protected. Victoria's legs buckled. She sank onto the terrace stones, her cream dress pooling around her. I was just trying to save my babies. I was just trying to keep them safe. Ryan stood motionless, his face a mask of grief. You never loved me, not even a little bit. Victoria looked up at him, mascara running down her cheeks. Ryan, I'm so sorry. You're a good man. You didn't deserve this. No. His voice broke. I didn't. The FBI agent arrived 20 minutes later. Victoria cooperated, providing details about Morales' operation that would eventually lead to his arrest and conviction. She was charged with fraud and attempted identity theft, but the prosecutor took her cooperation into account. The judge gave her a suspended sentence and 2 years of probation. Marcus and the children were placed under federal protection until Morales' network was fully dismantled. The last I heard, they'd relocated to Oregon, trying to build a new life far from the shadow of what Victoria had almost done. And Ryan, my grandson. He stood on the empty terrace long after the guests had left, staring at nothing. I sat down beside him. We didn't speak for a long time. Finally, his voice came out rough, raw. "How did you know, Dolores?" "She saw things. She investigated. She brought me proof." "Dolores." Ryan laughed bitterly. "The housekeeper figured it out, and I was completely blind." "You weren't blind, son. You were in love. Love makes us want to believe the best in people." "Is that supposed to make me feel better?" "No. Nothing's going to make you feel better for a while. I'm just telling you the truth." Ryan turned to me, eyes red. "Did you ever doubt Grandma?" "In the beginning, I thought about Margaret. Our first year of marriage. The fights, the fears, the moments when I wondered if I'd made a terrible mistake. Every relationship has doubts, Ryan. The difference is whether the person on the other side is being honest with you. Victoria wasn't. I wanted to build a life with her, have kids with her, grow old together." His voice cracked. "I had our whole future planned, and now you'll plan a different future. A real one. With someone who deserves you." Ryan shook his head. "I don't know if I can trust anyone again." "You can. You will. Not today. Maybe not next month. But eventually, you'll learn to recognize the difference between someone who loves you and someone who wants something from you." I put my hand on his shoulder. "And I'll be here, every step of the way." Ryan leaned against me the way he had at 12 years old, when I told him his parents were gone. We sat on that terrace until the stars came out, grandfather and grandson, grieving a loss neither of us had expected. 6 months passed. The seasons turned. Ryan threw himself into work at the company he'd started, a non-profit building affordable housing for veterans. He started seeing a therapist. He stopped wearing the watch Victoria had given him. One afternoon, he walked into my study with an unfamiliar expression, something between nervous and hopeful. "Grandpa, I met someone." I looked up from my book. "Oh?" "Her name's Sophie. She teaches 3rd grade. We met at a veteran housing ribbon-cutting ceremony." Ryan smiled, really smiled, for the first time in months. "She has no idea how much money our family has. She didn't even recognize the Warren name. She just wanted to talk about the kids she teaches and the book she's reading." "Tell me about her." Ryan sat down, words tumbling out. Sophie's laugh. Sophie's kindness. Sophie's complete lack of pretension. How she'd spilled coffee on herself during their first date and laughed so hard she cried. "Grandpa, I know it's early. I know I should be careful. But there's something different about her. Something real." I studied my grandson's face. The shadows were still there, but underneath them was something else. Growth. Wisdom earned through pain. "I'd like to meet her," I said. "When you're ready." "Really? You're not going to warn me about being cautious? About protecting myself? I think you've already learned those lessons." I leaned forward. "Here's what I'll tell you instead. Trust your instincts. Pay attention to what people do, not just what they say, and never be afraid to ask hard questions." Ryan nodded slowly. "Grandpa, I never thanked you properly. For what you did at the engagement party. I was so angry at first. I thought you'd humiliated me. I know, but you saved me. From Victoria. From a marriage built on lies. From losing everything our family built." His voice thickened. "You were willing to have me hate you to protect me. I didn't risk your hatred, son. I risked your anger. There's a difference." I smiled. "Besides, you're the last piece of my son I have left. I'd walk through fire to keep you safe." Ryan stood, crossed to my chair, and hugged me tight. "I love you, Grandpa. I love you too, Ryan. Always have. Always will." After he left, I sat alone in the gathering dusk. On my desk sat a photograph of Margaret and me at our wedding, 50 years and a lifetime ago. "Well, Margaret," I said softly, "I think he's going to be okay." The photograph didn't answer, but somehow I felt her approval. Victoria Chen served her probation without incident. I never spoke to her again, but I heard through various channels that she genuinely changed. She and Marcus divorced, sharing custody of their children. She went back to school, became a counselor for families dealing with financial crisis. Maybe she found redemption. Maybe she found peace. I hope so, for her children's sake. Morales is serving 15 years in federal prison. The FBI agent told me Victoria's testimony was crucial to the case. Whatever else she did, she helped put a dangerous man behind bars. And Ryan. My grandson married Sophie 2 years after we sat on that terrace together. Small ceremony, backyard wedding. Sophie's third graders made handmade decorations. Dolores cried through the whole thing. I walked Ryan down the aisle because his father couldn't. And when the minister asked if anyone objected, Ryan caught my eye and smiled. "Not this time, Grandpa," he whispered. "Not this time." If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had to make a hard choice to protect someone you love? I want to hear your story. Proverbs 27:6 says, "Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses." Victoria's kisses were countless, but they came from an enemy. The wound I gave Ryan that day, exposing the truth in front of everyone, that wound came from love. And wounds from love, they heal. Trust your instincts, protect the ones you love, and never be afraid to speak truth, even when it shatters everything. Because one moment of painful truth is always better than a lifetime of comfortable lies. Looking back on that day when Dolores pulled me into the coat closet, I'm grateful. Grateful for her loyalty. Grateful for Marcus's eventual honesty. Grateful that I didn't let fear or politeness stop me from saving my grandson. Margaret used to say that family isn't just about blood. It's about the people willing to fight for you when you can't fight for yourself. Dolores proved that. I proved that. And now Ryan, he understands it too. That's the legacy worth protecting. Not the money, not the estate, the love. Thank you for listening to the end. God bless you and your family. And remember, the truth will always find its way into the light. Make sure you're standing on the right side when it does.